What's up, YouTube? Capital G here, showing you guys a Trickstar duel that is pretty damn degenerate, if I say so myself, man. I'm a fan of Trickstar. It's not like my favorite archetype in the game, but I do generally want my duels to last more than a couple of turns. Dark Room of Nightmare is just absurd in this deck and what this card, or what that card allows this deck to do. You guys know that I talked about not being sure about the direction that Trickstars were going in. This shows you some of the new cards and what they can actually do, but for everybody thinking that Trickstars, like, the people are just going to completely drop the burn side of the deck, like, stop. Just stop it. Like, people, I believe TCG players are going to keep playing the burn cards until Konami forces them to play new cards, until, like, Reincarnation gets banned. Even if it gets limited, people will still play it. So anyways, let's go ahead and roll this. He's up against Cleefort, and Trickstars not only go first, but he opens incredibly good. He opens with Light Stage. He has Candina on board. He opens up with a Reincarnation. He gets a second one and Dark Room of Nightmare. That was pretty much like the perfect opening as far as like cards that he could draw. And then he has the Ash Blossom in his hand. So yeah, if you have double Reincarnation with Light Stage, if you're going first, it's obviously very strong. But then if you have Dark Room of Nightmare, you're doing a lot more burn damage. So let's see how that generally plays out. And I usually like to wait on my Reincarnation, but if I have double Reincarnation and Lyco Risk, I usually just go ahead and just rip them, especially if I have Dark Room of Nightmare as well. You see he gets 400 damage just for him drawing a card. Then he activates Reincarnation to do, what, 1200 per, and then obviously he's going to do 400 with the Light Stage on top of that. Now he's getting all the counters with Dark Room of Nightmare. And if his opponent even had Regeki after this, he opened with it, but it doesn't matter because obviously it got banished. He would still be perfectly fine. Like, you're fine losing Lycoris. You have double Reincarnation in the graveyard. Now you're going to see him get a second copy of Dark Room of Nightmare. He's going to lock down the first card. Now he's going to play Light Arena. It's going to lock down the second card. And I believe he's going to go into Holly Angel. But you see he's really focusing still on the burn side. He does get Candina back off of Arena's effect, which is pretty nice. And he's getting that burn damage every time he summons, which that burn damage is like actually adding up. Usually it's only 200, but instead it ends up being 800. He summons Foxy Witch, which I love. Both of the back row are locked down, so he ultimately doesn't declare a single attack and he wins the duel. So, you know, this is just another example of when people are like, no cap, Trickstars need to become a link deck. I don't know about that, man. I feel like they will definitely use the new cards, but I still feel like it's just going. I feel like it's still going to be a burn deck. I don't think people are going to focus on dropping like Bella Madonna. You might do it every once in a while, but I still feel like the primary like win condition is going to be doing most of your damage to effect damage. And I love the new Link 3. Let me go ahead and show you guys what the deck looks like, so you can see what it looks like with the new cards in there. So this is what the deck looks like. I'm using YGO Pro personally because these new cards, like some of them, the new Trickstar, Foxy Witch, so they're not out on YGO Pro 2 yet, unfortunately. But this actually looks almost identical to what I would actually make. I don't run Droll and Lockbird in my Trickstars. I feel like the card is really inconsistent. Everybody kind of talks about the Reincarnation combo. It can be really good, but I don't know. Sometimes I just find it like really difficult to pull off. And again, Spiral is really good. It can be good against Trickstar, but outside of that, I feel like the Droll and Lockbird it's not really that good of a card against, you know, the broad meta. Like the hand traps that I personally like to use are like these three: Maxi, Ash Blossom, and Ogre, because they're pretty good against most decks in the meta. One of the things I like about the new support for Trickstars is Carol Bean. This solves pretty much Trickstar's biggest problem. If your opponent throws like a boar load against you with Trickstars and you don't have Eater of Millions or Honest, it's really difficult for Trickstars to get over big monsters. You have Regeki, you have Dark Hole, but outside of that, it feels like you have to make some really difficult plays, some really kind of like, I don't know, less than optimal plays. But now that the deck basically has a searchable Honest, like you can literally just normal summon Candina, search Carol Bean, and just run over something like Borload and really not have to worry about that. I actually do like Light Arena at 1. I don't like this card as a replacement for Light Stage, because Light Stage is like infinitely better and it does way too much for the archetype. But at 1, you did see it does a little bit of work, especially if you can make Holly Angel and you can lock down one of your opponent's back rows. Like, even though they get the card back, I think that it's really about the big link play. Now, I'm not sure why he's running multiple copies of Bella Madonna. I would probably run, because he's running Foxy Witch, and when Foxy Witch dies, she does summon a Trickstar from your extra deck, and you might go into, like, you might go into Holly Angel to go into Foxy Witch. What I would probably do is, I don't know, I'd either run another copy of Holly Angel, or I don't know, man. Cat Bat is just not that good. So yeah, I guess I'd run like 2 copies of Holly Angel or something like that. But this is just kind of to show you guys what a new Trickstar build might actually look like. I don't think that like you'll see any just pure link spam Trickstars. I think you'll see versions that run a couple of the new cards, but I think it'll still be primarily focused around the old cards. Even if you did this, even if you did, let's say Trickstar Reincarnation gets, you know, limited to 1 like it is in the OCG, what you might see more people do is just either throw in more Scapegoats or throw in more Solemn Strike. If Scapegoat gets hit, then, okay, let me, what's it called? Let me take Scapegoat out the deck. You're still only adding 3 more cards to the deck. So, you know, you just throw in another copy of Solemn Strike, maybe some Eater of Millions, and you maybe call it a day. The last thing I kind of wanted to add to the video, or I wanted to talk about really quickly, was Trickstar Nightshade. I think maybe this card might have a place in Trickstars as a one-of, because you could go into some really solid link plays with this card when it comes to like the Trickstar monsters. I think that people just, they might not be willing to use their normal summon on this. If you could special summon this, if you had a Trickstar monster like on the field already, oh my god, this card would be a no-brainer in my opinion as a one-of, because if you do normal summon her and you go into the Trickstar Bloom like the Link 1, and then you activate the Light Arena to bring her back, then you can instantly go into Holly Angel, and then you can activate Nightshade's effect and you can bring her back again, and you can go into a Link 3. So she becomes a normal summon that as long as you have Light Arena on the field, you go straight into a Link 3. That's pretty damn good in my opinion. That, and I think that like Dark Realm of Nightmare might start being like standard in Trickstars.